This is the land of Havilah, Ezra 8. In the last chapter, King Artaxerxes commissioned Ezra to go to Jerusalem and to take any willing Israelites with him, especially priests, Levites, and temple servants. Since the king feared God, he gave them silver and gold, and authorized more from his treasuries beyond the river is to be used for sacrifices and any other needs of God's house at Jerusalem. Furthermore, he commissioned Ezra to teach the law of God and to appoint judges. He wants God's law and the law of the king to be enforced on penalty of death. Ezra already said he left Babylon on the first day of the first month and arrived in Jerusalem on the first day of the fifth month, but now he'll back up and fill in some details about the trip. Coming up, a list of households that gathered at the rendezvous point, verse 1. Now these are the heads of the fathers' households, and this is the genealogy of those who went up with me from Babylon in the reign of Artaxerxes the king. Of the sons of Phinehas, Gershom. Of the sons of Ithamar, Daniel. Of the sons of David, Hattush. Of the sons of Shechaniah. Of the sons of Parash, Zechariah, and with him were listed by genealogy of males 150. Of the sons of Pahath Moab, Elioenai, the son of Zerahiah, and with him 200 males. Of the sons of Shechaniah, the son of Jehaziel, and with him 300 males. Of the sons of Aden, Ebed, the son of Jonathan, and with him 50 males. Of the sons of Elam, Jeshiah, the son of Athaliah, and with him 70 males. Of the sons of Shephatiah, Zebediah, the son of Michael, and with him 80 males. Of the sons of Joab, Obadiah, the son of Jehiel, and with him 218 males. Of the sons of Shelomith, the son of Josephiah, and with him 160 males. Of the sons of Bebai, Zechariah the son of Bebai, and with him 28 males. Of the sons of Azgad, Johanan the son of Hakatan, and with him 110 males. Of the sons of Adonikam, who are the last, and these are their names, Eliphelet, Juel, and Shemaiah, and with them 60 males. Of the sons of Bigvai, Uthai, and Zabad, and with them 70 males. Comment: those men will remain mostly unfamiliar to us. There are a Daniel, Zechariah, and Obadiah, but none of them are the authors of the books by those names. Verse 15. I gathered them together to the river that runs to Ahava, and there we encamped 3 days, and I looked around at the people, the priests, and found there were none of the sons of Levi. Comment: in verse 15, they rendezvoused next to a river or canal that runs to Ahava, which is an unknown location other than it being somewhere in Mesopotamia. The number of men totals 1,468, and they had their families with them, no doubt, so there were probably well over 3,000 in the group. One of Ezra's goals was to take priests and Levites with him, but it turned out in verse 15 that there weren't any Levites. Coming up, they won't depart until they do some recruiting of Levites. Verse 16. Then I sent for Eliezer, for Ariel, for Shemaiah, for Elnathan, for Jerib, for Elnathan, for Nathan, for Zechariah, and for Meshullam, chief men, also for Joy-Arib and for Elnathan, who were teachers. I sent them out to Iddo the chief at the place Casaphia, and I told them what they should tell Iddo and his brothers the temple servants at the place Casaphia, that they should bring to us ministers for the house of our God. According to the good hand of our God on us, they brought us a man of discretion of the sons of Mali, the son of Levi, the son of Israel, and Sherebiah with his sons and his brothers 18, and Hashabiah, and with him Jeshiah of the sons of Merari, his brothers and their sons 20, and of the temple servants whom David and the princes had given for the service of the Levites, 220 temple servants. All of them were mentioned by name. Comment: in verses 16 and 17, Ezra sent 11 men to Casaphia, which is another unknown location, to recruit Levites. There lived at Casaphia a certain Iddo. He was the head of a Levite enclave, or at least he had a lot of Levite connections. Ezra's messengers went to see Iddo at Casaphia and returned to the rendezvous site, having successfully recruited 258 Levite men. One of them, the Levite head of household called Sherebiah in verse 18, was a man of discretion. He had good judgment, in other words, so he was a particularly good addition. Adding up the numbers now, the group is probably somewhere between 3,500 and 7,000 men, women, and children. Verse 21. Then I proclaimed a fast there at the river Ahava, that we might humble ourselves before our God, to seek from him a straight way for us, and for our little ones, and for all our possessions. For I was ashamed to ask of the king a band of soldiers and horsemen to help us against the enemy along the way, because we had spoken to the king, saying, The hand of our God is on all those who seek him for good, but his power and his wrath is against all those who forsake him. So we fasted and begged our God for this, and he granted our request. Comment: we can gather from verses 21 to 23 and verse 31 coming later that travel in those days was dangerous because of enemies and bandits. The group will be carrying all their collective wealth plus donations from the king and others which are intended for Yahweh's house. If the people get robbed, they won't be happy, and if the king gets robbed, he won't be happy. In verse 22, Ezra recalls that he bragged to the king that God protects those who seek him. Therefore, he was ashamed to ask for an army escort. At the rendezvous site, he was getting nervous about not having an escort. So they fasted and prayed in verses 21 and 23, and God gave them a safe journey. Coming up when they began the trip, Ezra selected certain of the priests and Levites, split the donations among them, accounting for everything very carefully, and put them in charge of keeping them secure along the way. Then when they arrived, they counted and weighed out everything to the temple treasurers. Verse 24. Then I set apart 12 of the chiefs of the priests, even Sherebiah, Hashabiah, and 10 of their brothers with them, and weighed to them the silver, the gold, and the vessels, even the offering for the house of our God, which the king, his counselors, his princes, and all Israel there present had offered. I weighed into their hands 650 talents of silver, 100 talents of silver vessels, 100 talents of gold, 20 bowls of gold weighing 1,000 derricks, and 2 vessels of fine brass, precious as gold. I said to them, You are holy to Yahweh, and the vessels are holy. The silver and the gold are a freewill offering to Yahweh, the God of your fathers. Watch and keep them until you weigh them before the chiefs of the priests and the Levites, and the princes of the fathers' households of Israel at Jerusalem, in the rooms of Yahweh's house. So the priests and the Levites received the weight of the silver and the gold and the vessels to bring them to Jerusalem, to the house of our God. Comment in verse 24, Ezra selected 12 priests and 12 Levites. In verses 25 to 30, he split the donations between the 24 of them to be in charge of them along the way. In verses 26 to 27, donations totaled $219 million worth at today's gold and silver prices. Assuming it all arrives safely in Jerusalem, it'll be mostly for purchasing sacrifices. Verse 31. Then we departed from the river Ahava on the 12th day of the first month to go to Jerusalem. The hand of our God was on us, and he delivered us from the hand of the enemy and the bandit by the way. We came to Jerusalem and stayed there 3 days. On the 4th day the silver and the gold and the vessels were weighed in the house of our God into the hand of Meremoth the son of Uriah the priest, and with him was Eleazar the son of Phinehas, and with them was Jozabad the son of Jeshua, and Noadiah the son of Binnui the Levite, everything by number and by weight, and all the weight was written at that time. Comment in verses 31 to 34, the migrants brought the donations to the temple treasury and weighed and counted them out to 5 of the treasury officials. It was a big day at the treasury office. The implication is that Ezra accounted for everything on paper before they left the river Ahava, and it all matched up when they counted it out in Jerusalem. Verse 35. The children of the captivity who had come out of the exile offered burnt offerings to the God of Israel, 12 bulls for all Israel, 96 rams, 77 lambs, and 12 male goats for a sin offering. All this was a burnt offering to Yahweh. Comment, what better way to mark the arrival than to make burnt offerings to Yahweh at his one and only altar in Jerusalem? Verse 36. They delivered the king's commissions to the king's local governors and to the governors beyond the river. Comment, they delivered the king's commissions to the officials beyond the river. Also translated, they delivered the king's decrees to them. By the time the officials read the king's letter to Ezra, they'll know they better respect Ezra and the Jews, and they know the king has opened his treasuries to Ezra for sacrifices and whatever else God may require of the king. Speaking of those officials, which was all the local and regional governors beyond the river, still in verse 36, so they supported the people and God's house. Comment, the royal officials had no choice but to support the people in God's house. After totally stripping Israel and Judah of everything, God's amazingly returning a remnant of them to the land and making them very secure there. Ezra 9 is next.